Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. How are you doing? It's really hot in England. It's managed to get into the 30s. We don't know what we're doing. So I've come out of the office, sat in my kitchen. It's a lot cooler in here. So I got my stuff set up. It's going to talk about domains. Why not? It's a hot day. Let's do it. So a lot of people think that every domain is roughly the same, whether it's a hand-registered domain or an aged one with lots of backlinks. And to be honest, that can be a really expensive opinion to have. So I thought I'd go over the different types of domains, what makes them valuable, and the types of buyers that you're going to find for those domains. Knowing the different types of domains and what they're used for and the potential buyers for those domains can really separate a beginner domainer from those that are profitable. Today I'm going to be covering the different types of domains, showing you roughly how that you can find them and how they can be monetized, whether it's to find the right buyer for them or to put them to use in your own portfolio. Premium domains are just a domain that intrinsically has a much higher value than a newly registered domain, but they're more than that. They're domains that have a key advantage in one way or another. Advantages of the premium domains can come in the form of existing backlinks, a history of content, a strong brand name, or a brandable domain name, whether it's got keywords in it, whether it's receiving traffic, I don't know if I've said that, and whether there's any commercial intent within the domain. So whether it's got keywords that would suggest that people are going to find your domain to buy things, or in an ideal world, it's got some combination of all of the above. So these are the different types of domains that we're going to be looking at today. We have SEO domains, brandable domains, keyword domains, and premium domains. And I may even cover a bonus topic at the end. So let's cover these different types of domains. Okay, so an SEO domain is a domain that has backlinks pushing it forward. So an SEO domain is one that generally will have backlinks and a clean history so that someone could realistically buy that domain, put a website on it, and get a leg up in the search rankings. Now, these can come just in the form of backlinks, but often a buyer will want to know that the content for the history of the domain is clean, that it's not chopped and changed, it's not gone from being about cheese one day to cars the next to casinos or anything like that. They want to be clean history but have backlinks, and often you'll find that the third-party metrics such as Moz Domain Authority, Majestic Trust Flow, and Ahrefs domain rank will also be high as a result of the good backlinks combined with the clean history. So you can use those metrics to weed out the bad domains, and then when you've got your short list of high domain authority, trust flow, domain rank domains, then you can really find the best ones in the group. But that's what you want to be looking for in an SEO domain. You want to be looking for domains that have, trust flow above 20, domain authority above 20, and referring links of say 100 or more. The higher the better for most of those. Brandable domains. These tend to be the ones that fetch the higher prices. These are the ones that your big brands are going to be going for, your big chains and your recognizable names in business from across the world. Now, brandable domains don't necessarily have to have a lot of backlinks or any real content history. They could be recently registered, but they need to be memorable and have a really strong name to them. So often when you hear of people hand registering them, it's a new emerging industry, a product name or a product type that's just come into market. You can look for keywords in those areas to get ideas for, a brandable domain. But they can also be a particularly memorable name. So such as Google. When Google was registered, no one really knew what a Google was. It wasn't a thing. They made it a thing because the name was very simple. It was easy to spot, easy to spell, easy to say, and they built their brand around that. So that wasn't a product. It wasn't a name. It wasn't recognizable other than it being easy to spell and easy to say. So it could be passed by word of mouth quite easily. and it was unique enough that people will always, whenever they hear anything that sounds like Google, they'll think of Google making it a brandable name. So brandable domains are often very valuable to businesses, startups. You think about there's a big boom in SaaS startups and software startups now with the rise in AI. It's making it a lot easier for people to bring those businesses to market. So these brandable domains are in quite high demand at the minute, so long as the name is right. The most common way of getting a brandable domain is actually at auction. So these domains do come up for sale quite often. They're relatively liquid. So you can keep an eye out for them on auction sites, as well as sometimes pending drop domains. People register a lot of domains thinking, oh, that's a good domain. But if they don't put that domain onto a marketplace, or they don't put it in front of buyers, you're not going to sell it. You're not going to get any money back from. So a lot of them do actually they expire after the first year often. So be on the lookout for that. Keyword domains. Keyword domains are similar to a brandable domain in that a lot of the value is derived from the name itself rather than, the things around it like the backlinks and the history. So they're mainly due to the name itself, but they can also have their value increased if they do have the backlinks to back it up. So they've got the strength of the keyword in the domain name, as well as having the backlinks that go along with that. When it comes to the stats with a keyword domain, sometimes having no history can be better than having some history. So keyword domains are often registered, certainly in the past, they've been registered and then used and abused because Google favored domains very heavily if they had the keyword in the domain name themselves. So those websites were getting thrust up the rankings. So what happened was a lot of the keyword containing domains were registered, put to use for nefarious deeds, and then they've been, they've got the ban hammer or some sort of penalization. So sometimes not having a history can be better than having a bad history. A keyword domain will usually, not always, but will usually have the benefit of ranking more easily for the keyword that's in it. It can pigeonhole the use of the domain quite a bit. So where a brandable domain can be used for multiple different things. So we'll go back to the Google example. When they registered that, they could have put that domain use to lots of different businesses. We now know it to be a search company, so that's what we associate it with. But prior to that, it could have been anything. Whereas if the domain had been searchkeywordresults.com, it would always have had to have been a search engine. Whereas now, if Google wanted, they could become an AI company. They could become an ad company, charge us a ton of money. Anyway. Place names in the domain are also really good indicator of value. So say you're making a website for a plumber in, let's say Boston. There's Bostons all over. You're looking to build a website for a plumber in Boston. If you can find a domain that has the words Boston and plumber in them, that will do you well in the Google business page. Google business page, as well as rankings in that area, because you're showing the search engines that that's the area and product that this website targets. So that's just a slight A-side for keyword domains. If you can have a keyword place domain, certainly for a local site, that will be really good for you. Well, the last main type of domain that I want to talk about are premium domains. There's no real category for what a premium domain is other than something that's got a high value. But how high a value does a premium domain have? That really depends, doesn't it? I've always thought of a premium domain as being one that has, a good, at least a memorable domain name, potentially very easy to say and pass on as well. It needs to have clean history. If it doesn't have a clean history, if it's been used as part of a PBN or, obvious spam, adult related content, things of this nature, then it's really not a premium domain. In my opinion, it needs to be clean. Often very often it has good stats. So it will, if it's a premium domain, it will have picked up backlinks over the years. It should have good stats to go with its clean history, as well as being memorable. It should have almost all of the things we've talked about. And another thing that premium domains will have is that there will be a very clear purpose for what that for the website based on that domain and what it does. And also, ideally, a premium domain should be on a .com or certainly a currently hyped up extension. So that type of extension changes over time. What's being hyped today is not necessarily the hype of yesterday. These days it tends to be .ai and .si more recently seem to be gaining a lot of hype, and you can go on Twitter and see the people talking about the domain sales that are happening in .ai and .si. It's crazy. There's a lot of money being thrown around out there. And a bonus type, here's one that I like to talk about because most of my business has been based around aged domains. So aged domains could be pretty much any of the previously mentioned domains, but they always have some form of history and backlinks that go along with them. They vary in quality massively, from total trash that's been spammed to buggery, had tons of backlinks thrown at it, terrible content, and things of this nature. But then it goes to the other end, where you're finding a domain that you're registering for, your $10, $11 with a value that's in the 3 to 4, 5 even figures. So in my opinion, that's what makes an aged domain. It's a domain that has an amount of backlinks and history, the content history, and it's those that make up its value. Now, I like those because you can search for them using tools like Domain Hunter Gatherer. It's, in my opinion, very easy. It's second nature to me now at this point. You just crawl authority websites, find domains, and almost always you're going to find domains that are valuable that other people have missed. It's really easy, it just takes a little time. But for all the other types of domains, generally, you can find them with easy expired domains. I'm going to be doing a bunch of different guides over the next few weeks about finding the different domains. I've got the 10-minute, £10 banger episodes. This last one was crazy. Found 2 domains, both in the 50s for domain authority, both with hundreds of referring domains. One of them's just sold at the auctions for $2,500, $2,550, I believe it was. And I found that domain. I don't think there'd been any views on the listing. I'm pretty sure there hadn't been any views. There's definitely not been any bids. Within an hour or so of posting the video, I could see the views were coming in, and then the next day the price was already in the hundreds, and it just shot up. So if you want to find domains like that before everybody else, before everyone else gets a chance, before I go and blurt out about it on the internet, go take a look on easyexpireddomains.com, because there's a ton of domains on there that people aren't seeing, and you could have had that domain. If I hadn't have mentioned it, you probably could have had that domain for a much lower price. If you got any questions, any queries for what you want to be seeing in these videos, I know I've got a lot of Domain Hunter Gatherer and Easy Expired Domains users in these videos, watching them anyway. So if you do want to see any, got any requests, let me know. I'm always happy to help. Don't want to be sat in the office doing any work at the minute right now. It is hot. And I don't know if you know, I have a huge server for DomDetailer in the office. It's cranking out the heat right now. So if you think of a video that I could do down at the beach, let me know, because I want to do that instead of being here. Right, talked enough now. I'm going to go. Bye.